And the first thing, oh, thank you, my lovely little friend in the background that's helping me out. First thing I want to do is just say a huge welcome and a huge congratulations to all of you for showing up for yourself, because this is always the first step when you decide to give yourself a whole 90 minutes that's for you, and hopefully you've parked everything else and you've got all this time for you. So just a big congratulations there. I'm going to share my screen. So just bear with me while I just get this all working. Oh.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yep. Okay, so here we are. This is a very exciting moment for me. This is my masterclass that I have created for you guys. And I'm very, very excited to be offering a whole heap of wisdom, tips, and tricks that I've gathered along the way that I use every single day, that has supported me in my journey. And I'm hoping will support you in your journey. So thank you again for coming along. Let's see, what are we going to do today? So we're going to break this down into 3 topics today. We're going to identify limiting beliefs. So limiting beliefs are absolutely one of the key difficult blocks that we have in our life. So we're going to look through what may be coming up for you with limiting beliefs. We're also going to focus on self-love and making sure we have more of that in our lives. And my favorite part is going to be emotional release. Now, there are a few people on this call that have actually experienced emotional release with me. I also have some wonderful American women I work with who aren't here right now because they're in bed, but they promised they'd come or watch the recording. And so they know how passionate I am about moving emotions through. So just a little housekeeping. Be lovely if you have your cameras on, but you don't have to. You don't have to share if you don't want to. I'm not going to put you into breakout groups or anything like that, but I might ask you to comment in the chat. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat. I will do a little quick Q&A at the end just to check if anybody's got any questions. So if I don't see it and I don't get to it, then pop it back in the chat later. And hopefully you bought a journal or you have something that you can write notes with on your computer, because there's a few things we'll do. We'll do a bit of exercise where you can work through some limiting beliefs and some self-love. So some of you know me. My name is Fiona Cable, but I'm known as Fiona Lumina. And this little quote is really important to me because it is exactly how I got where I am today. So I chose to rewrite my story, and I have now living a life that I could only have dreamed of not that long ago. I had a big moment in my life where I only believed that I could be what I was. I was doing pretty much everything that everyone else thought that I should do. And I was really, really, really miserable. And so I went on a bit of a journey, and I will talk about my story shortly. But what it's allowed me to do is to be in this incredible space where I can work with women who are also limiting themselves, who also do not have any idea how powerful and incredible they are. But that allows me, having gone through my journey and done the training that I've done and taken all the bits and pieces from all the different training I've done, I've did hypnotherapy, Ho'oponopono, quantum coaching, and allow women to create meaningful connections, reclaim their true potential, and find joy, success, and fulfillment in their lives. So I am very, very grateful for that. And so my story, in my 40s, which is pretty much where I think a lot of women start to find that things are not really going their way. I had everything I thought that I wanted. I had the really nice house. I had a husband. I had a lovely young family. I had a good career. And I was absolutely exhausted and miserable. And I had to work out what was going on. Why did I have everything that I thought I wanted, but it just wasn't giving me what I needed? And it took me this incredible, profound moment to realize I was living completely out of alignment of who I actually was supposed to be. I was living the life that other people thought that I needed to live, or that I thought I needed to live to fit into what everyone else thought of who I was. So once I had worked that out, I had to hit rock bottom. I had to move out of the perfectionism, the controlling behavior, being really unpleasant to people, being a driving force in my house, that everyone had to do it my way or the highway. And it was me trying to hold on to this last little bit of control that I was really losing. But everybody else saw Fiona's got it sorted. Fiona's all over it. Fiona has everything that she needs. They did not see what was going on inside. And I was getting so unwell. I had physical pains. I had also awful things going on in my body. I had chronic back pains. I was so anxious. I would wake up in the morning with the biggest punch in the stomach every single time I opened my eyes, and that would just be how I would flow through the day. And all I could do every single day was boss everybody around to try and get some kind of control in my life. So what I discovered, which was really liberating and allowed me to feel freedom again, was I discovered who I am. I discovered how to love myself again. And I discovered that I had an inner wisdom that meant that I could make decisions for myself and I did not need anyone else to make decisions for me. I already knew what I needed in my life, and I didn't need other people to define my identity. So that was such a profound awakening for me. That's what led me on this path of healing and transformation and diving deep into all of these beautiful modalities, which then allows me to be right here with you and saying, okay, I did all the hard work. Let me just break those years of working it out down for you and give you some really, really easy tips and tricks and that little next step for you. So we roll into this beautiful thing called limiting beliefs. I'm sure many of you already know what limiting beliefs are. We're going to explore common limiting beliefs, particularly for women, and understand that these beliefs and transmuting them and changing them is the first step towards unlocking your full potential. So, common limiting beliefs women face. Let's start by really bedding down into these ones because they're pretty strong for most of us. So the I'm not good enough. And this can manifest in every area of your life, in your career, in your relationship, in your parenting journey, in your friendships. I don't deserve success or happiness. Now, this often comes from past experiences or some societal conditioning, or even some conditioning of being in a relationship or being in a family where you've been told these things and you've really started to believe them. I need to be perfect to be loved or respected. Now, this was me. Perfectionism can lead to burnout and anxiety. This is exactly what happened to me. I knew that if I did not, I thought that if I did not show this perfect face to the world, I would not be loved and respected. I now know that's not true. Yay me. I'm not capable of achieving my dreams. So this can hold us back from even trying to do something. We can have a dream, but we're not even going to go there because we're limiting ourselves in some way. Now, this is a big one for women. I'm selfish if I prioritize my needs. So this actually then can lead to self-neglect and personal growth. So you can actually, it can be really, really damaging, this one. It's actually the opposite. It's actually more selfish to allow yourself to fall down and not look after yourself, because you are not then showing up your best version of yourself to your loved ones, to your work colleagues, to everybody. So it's a real paradigm here that we often feel it's selfish to put myself first, but it's actually selfish to not, if that makes sense. And too old or young to start something new. Now, this is the best one. Absolute rubbish. Anyone can do anything whenever they want. There's always a certain limit that they can do. So yeah, we definitely want to dispel that one. And I'm not smart, talented, or creative enough. So this one can really impact our personal growth, our professional growth, and is very much not true. So quantum limiting beliefs, which is these beliefs, if you can imagine, if you know anything about quantum physics and quantum energy, quantum particles have limitless potential states. Anything can happen in the quantum. And our minds also hold this limitless state. But if we're telling ourselves, I'm not capable, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve, those particles are going to be putting all of that into our bodies, rather than going, I can do anything, I'm amazing, I'm fabulous, which is expanding you. We are very, very good at really minimizing ourselves and preventing us from realizing our true capabilities. So how do they impact us? So decision making. You can be really paralyzed by even the smallest decisions when you've got limiting beliefs, because you do not have the confidence to believe in yourself. Relationships can really suffer. You can actually settle for something less than you deserve, or you can push away really positive connections, those ones that are going to lift you up. Maybe that feels threatening because you feel like you don't deserve it. Career growth, we did talk about this. We can prevent ourselves from applying for promotions or starting a business, or even that passion that you've always wanted to do. There's something that keeps telling you not to do it. Self-care, really important. If you feel that it's selfish, if you've got beliefs about selfishness and unworthiness, that can really lead to neglecting your physical and mental health. Creativity and innovation. We doubt our abilities, we stifle our creative expression and our problem-solving skills. So that can be really impactful. And our emotional well-being. It can increase your anxiety and stress, and potentially even move into more serious mental health disorders like depression. And goal setting. If you are limiting yourself, you may not even ever set goals. But you also, if you do, you may set them really low and not push yourself to that next level. And what reinforces these limiting beliefs is a little thing called the saboteur. Now, the saboteur is like our little special inner voice friend who loves to undermine our potential. And this is often due to fear or past traumas that's happened to us. So when you've got the saboteur and your limiting belief working hand in hand, they're doing a really good job at stopping you from doing what you really know that you are capable of doing. And that can be a bit of a challenging cycle to break. However, it's not that hard, because we actually want to give these limiting beliefs and this inner voice, we want to show them that we can understand them. So understanding the limiting belief and their impact on your life is the first step for personal transformation. Once we recognize it, we can actually challenge that limiting belief. And once we've challenged it, then we can reframe it. So your belief shapes your reality. Everything you believe is what you go out and bring back into your world, or how you present yourself. So altering your limiting beliefs is a massive step to unlocking new possibilities and an incredible life ahead of you. So what we would like to do is really begin to understand our limiting beliefs, address both the limiting beliefs and the saboteur to get to your full potential. So we're going to have a look at actually doing a little bit of an exercise now. And we're going to reflect on some limiting beliefs that might be in your life. So we're going to look at what beliefs might be holding you back, how they're impacting your daily life. And once we bring this to awareness to your attention, we can start to make some changes. So if you've got a journal and a pen, or maybe if you want to just type onto the computer, we're just going to go through a little process here. So just before we go into this, I'm going to take you through a little guided visualization process. So if you just make yourself comfortable, pop your pens down for the moment. And sitting with a nice tall straight spine, or even if you're on the floor, however you will feel nice and comfortable. And closing your eyes down and just taking in a deep breath all the way in, filling up your lungs, and then allowing that breath just to sigh out. And we're taking in another deep breath, just filling up those lungs, feeling that life force flowing in, and allowing it to sigh out of your mouth. And as you're sitting there or lying there, just feeling your body, feeling into your body, and becoming very, very present with who you are and what you are. And I want you to start to imagine yourself 5 years from now, and you are living your ideal life. Those dreams that you have held in your heart, they've come true. Everything that you could ever want is happening in this life right now. What does it look like? What are the colors? What is the scenery? What is the temperature? And how do you feel? What emotions are in your body? And who is with you? Who have you surrounded yourself with 5 years from now in this perfect dream reality you've created? Really feel into this vision. Smell the smells. Maybe run your fingers along something. Feel it. And allowing your breath to really, really open you up. Feel how it feels, how liberated, how free, how peaceful, how excited. And allow those dreams to be your biggest dreams. You're dreaming of a mountain. You're not halfway up that mountain. You're all the way up to the top. And with that beautiful vision in your mind, just beginning now to come back to the space. And just allowing your breathing just to anchor you back into the room. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome back. Now I want you to think about your current reality. What is stopping you right now from achieving that vision that you just created in your mind? Really feel into what is stopping you. And you can write that down. And then I would like you in the chat to type one word that describes the biggest obstacle you feel is holding you back. What is it that is stopping you from taking any steps towards that dream? Okay, now if you typed it or you wrote it down, I want you to look at the word that you typed or wrote down. So we've got self-worth, self-doubt, fear, not being good enough, fear of the unknown, mobility, motivation. Now I want you to think about that word. And I want you to write, what belief about yourself does this obstacle represent? So for example, if you wrote money was your limiting belief or your obstacle, your limiting belief might be, I'm not worthy of financial success. So if you've written down, somebody's written incapable in here, that could be that your limiting belief does not think you're ready, does not feel that you're good enough, does not feel that you're smart enough. So coming up with that belief that sits behind that word that you've come up with, and write that down. You don't have to write that in the chat. You can write that in your journal. And that's a really good space to keep everything so that you can look back on this. This is something that I've done on numerous occasions, and it is fascinating to go back and look at what my limiting beliefs were 12 months ago compared to what they are now. I don't even know that person back then. So I love to keep writing these things down and keep them as markers on your journey. So once you've written that down, I'm going to move into identifying this limiting belief. So I'm going to pop these in the chat, these little so this is our journal and our reflection. So Chris has asked me to ask the question again. So we'll just go back to this one. So you're looking for the word that you've written down, the phrase that you've written down. What belief about yourself does that represent? So if you've written down something saying my self-worth, or I don't believe in myself, your limiting belief is that you don't have self-worth to believe in yourself. If your limiting belief is motivation, for example, if your word was motivation, your limiting belief could be something along the lines of, I don't know enough about something, or I don't have enough excitement in my life, or something like that. So what we're going to do with identifying your limiting belief is we're going to ask yourself, where did this belief come from? So when we've understood what the limiting belief is sitting behind that word that's stopping you, what's stopping you doing what would be your dream, we want to see where did it come from. And we want to work out, is it actually true, or is it something you've accepted? Now, for example, with mobility, that is a true limiting belief. However, there could be more limits you put on yourself because of your mobility. You are not allowing yourself to move into certain spaces. But something like motivation, for example, is that an accepted belief? Is that accepted limitation? Or is that just something you've allowed yourself to believe? And then the third journal that we'll do is, how has this belief impacted your life so far? Now, if anyone feels comfortable and they want to put their limiting belief in the chat. And we can see if there's any common themes. So my limiting belief that really drove me was that I couldn't do anything by myself, that I needed guidance always. So I was an executive assistant for years. So I had executives above me always telling me what to do. And in no way, shape, or form did I think I could ever do their role where they're making the decisions. I was always the one that just kept them together underneath. But I'm now standing here as a leader and a business owner, probably only 2 years, 18 months into this journey. And I am fully empowered that I know how to do things. And actually, I'm questioning many, many things that other people think that I thought were leaders and authorities. I'm questioning. I have my own ideas now. I have my own thoughts. I have discernment. So I limited myself for a really, really long time by telling myself that I was never going to be able to lead people. I was never going to be able to make decisions that that were correct decisions, because I was like, well, how would I know? How on earth would I know that? So now we've got our limiting belief, we're going to challenge it. Beautiful Mel. So I don't have what it takes to create my dream life. So let's challenge this belief. And I call this lawyer that thought. When thoughts come into your mind, do you have evidence to support that thought? But what we're going to do here is we're going to get a piece of evidence that contradicts what you've written down as your limiting belief. So, for example, I'm not smart enough, but if you look back at all the things that you've achieved, that's just not true, because you've already got such a long way down. So yeah, well, let's go with Chris's put unworthiness from feelings of constant judgment and others' expectations. So let's just put a piece of evidence there that contradicts this. At any point, Chris, have you been in an environment where people have been really like looked up to you and really respected you? Has there ever been an opportunity for you in your life where somebody has been really respectful of your knowledge and your experience, and maybe even something you just said to them? So that's where we can completely challenge that. How far have you come? Have you come from here and you've already achieved all these things and you're now here? We're not looking at the end point, but we're looking at how far you've come on that journey, which contradicts, I'm not going anywhere or I can't do anything. We'll look back and see how far you've come along. You know, even the self-loathing, or, you know, I don't love myself, or all those kind of things. Like, well, do you have a child that thinks you are the absolute most lovable person in the whole wide world? That's evidence that you're lovable. So hopefully this has helped you to see that once you recognize what the belief is that's stopping you, it's a first step to overcoming it. And maybe you can set yourself a bit of a challenge for the week, that you start to notice when these beliefs come up, when you get that inner voice that starts saying, no, you can't do that, or you shouldn't be doing that. And like notice when that belief surfaces and write it down, and then contradict it. Find some evidence that does not support that belief. Because you have the power within you to completely rewrite the story. The story began from somewhere telling you a story, and you believe the story. Well, just change the story and believe that instead. And it sounds harder than it is, because once you start doing it, it's a knock-on effect. It's a flow-on effect. You start going, oh, actually, yes, I can do this. Oh, no, I can even do more. And then you start saying it to others. You start seeing other people limiting themselves. And so you get into such a habit of picking yourself up, you start picking up others around you as well. And that's that ripple effect of just building people up all the time to show us that we are so powerful. And remember, it's a practice. So it's not something that's you're going to do it once and you're going to be good. You have to do this over and over again. How old are you? How long have you been telling yourself that story? Could have been since you were 5 years old. Could just be in the last 10 years. It's still a long time. It doesn't take that long to rewire it, but you will need to work on it. And I often say that to the people that I work with: you get out what you put back in. So it's awareness. Beautiful. So we're going to move on to self-love. So very fundamental aspect of personal growth. And when you discover how much you can love yourself, you will have huge transformation in your life. There's no way it can't happen. So it's not just a feel-good concept, self-love. It's actually the entire foundation for personal growth and transformation. Because what we're doing is we're truly loving and accepting ourselves and everything that comes up with us, the good, the bad, the ugly, the chaotic, the wild, every single thing within us that comes up, we love it. And that creates that ripple effect I was just talking about. If you're walking around loving yourself, then you are able to love others. You are able to invite more love in. And it just touches everybody in the world, really, but definitely within your environment. So think of it as like the soil in which all your other qualities and achievements can grow. So your self-love is the soil, and you're going to plant everything else in it. Everything in your life goes into this soil. So without it, even the most incredible accomplishments can feel completely hollow and empty. And so when you have self-love, every step forward becomes meaningful and sustainable. We've all known people that live in an environment where they're super successful. They've got heaps of money, but they are not happy. They're still trying to strive for more and more and more, because they're probably coming from a program of self-loathing or trying to feel better by externally, because they're not loving themselves. So they're like, but I need everybody else to look at me and think I'm so successful, and I need to externally create success because I'm so empty inside. So the poorest and often the least successful, is how we term it, are generally happier than the ones up there that are like, trying to create so much more. So people that are so happy to just live within their means and just have their family around them, and obviously not being destitute, but when you don't need all that stuff in your life because you're so whole, that is when you're in that beautiful self-love. So if you have self-love, your confidence and self-esteem is just always good, because even on your bad days, you go, you're all right. You've got this. You got up out of bed on the wrong day, wrong way. You're not feeling great today, but just go slow, go gentle on yourself. You've got this. You're doing the best you can. So you're just allowing yourself always to you've got your back, basically, is what this create. You don't need anyone else to boost your confidence or self-esteem because you've got it in here. And your decision-making skills, we talked about that, how that can be really impacted with limiting beliefs. If you trust yourself, you believe in you, you know that you're making a decision that feels right for you, regardless of what anyone else is thinking, feeling, or how it's impacting them. You're like, it's right for me. Enhancing resilience. So this is a big one. We do get challenges a lot, they come up a lot in our lives. But if you are standing in your strength and your power and loving yourself, you will move through these challenges with so much more grace. Particularly because of the way that you don't berate yourself, you don't tell yourself off. You hold yourself in compassion and love, because we all go through challenges. You are holding the other people that might be causing so much drama in your life. You're actually also holding them in compassion and love. And you can just see it from, it's not because they're creating it for you. You're saying, how can I learn from this? And how can I remove myself if I can't learn from, if this isn't going to be a growth thing for me? How can I remove myself? So you're taking that responsibility. Healthier relationships. I touched on this. If you love yourself, you have so much more capacity to love others, but you also have so much more capacity to be loved, because you are emanating that feeling of wholeness. You sometimes, when you are really low on self-love, you either love someone else so much because you're almost giving yourself to somebody, or you can't let that love in. And an increase in life satisfaction, which we all want. So here's a few things that you can do that can start you on that journey. Self-compassion, we've talked about this. Treat yourself as you would a good friend. You would never, ever, 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 ever drop yourself, drop a friend the way you would drop yourself, for example. If you make a mistake or you have a setback, respond to yourself with understanding. Imagine if your child had something going on, you wouldn't tell them to buck their ideas up, pull themselves together. Well, maybe you would, but I think most of us now know that we would be kind and compassionate to them. Healthy boundaries. I would say this is one of the most important things for women to bring back into their life. We are so, so good at saying yes to things we don't want to do, and things that drain us. So we're so worried about the impact on the other person. If you actually hold your boundary and say it doesn't serve me, there's a lot of guilt women carry, which is generational. And it means, oh, if I say no and hold my boundary, then they're going to get cross with me, or it's going to come back at me in another way. But if you actually, yes, that's going to happen, particularly if the people that you've been around have been very, very used to you saying yes to everything that they don't want to do. If you've got friends that are like, hey, can you look after my kid again and again and again, and you keep saying yes, when you start saying no, absolutely they're going to go, what? What do you mean? What do you mean you're going to stand in your power? I don't like that. But what happens is you will go through that crunchy time. But as you continue to say no to things that drain you and yes to things that nourish you, that becomes the new normal. So the people in your life start to realize, oh, she's not going to roll over and take what I keep giving to her. And if they don't, and if that becomes a major conflict, they're the kind of people that are going to start to leave your life. It's when you start to hold yourself in boundaries and other people don't like it, they will either come with you and grow with you, or they will fall away. And that is just how, if we are courageous enough to step into this journey of empowerment and giving ourselves what we need, we are going to have to expect that things like this may happen in our lives. Celebrate your achievements. I love this one because I think we all forget all the things that we do on a daily basis that are awesome and amazing. So I have a little tip to keep a win journal. Like maybe you've got your little liberty beliefs that you're flipping over into challenging them and lawyering them. And then maybe you also have your little win journal here. So it could be the smallest things. It could be, I went to the shops and I got 2 for 1 deal today. Yay, celebrate my win. Or I went to watch my son in a play today and he performed beautifully and I'm so proud of him. Or I went to watch my kid at an assembly and they got an award and I wasn't expecting it. Little things like this that we kind of brush over. I took myself for a walk today. Win, lovely. It was really sunny, really nice day. And this kind of moves into that self-talk. We talked about the practice self-compassion and this practice positive self-talk kind of sits in the same basket. Talk to yourself as if you are a really beautiful, gentle child that needs affirmation and support and confidence building. If you are really, really good at beating yourself up, just imagine doing that to your 3-year-old or doing it to a lovely lady who's just come in and she's got a disability and you start saying mean things to her. Like you just would never do it. Imagine that you are vulnerable and need supporting because you generally are. And your physical health. Now, loving your body, loving what goes into your body will come naturally when you start to hold yourself in a higher state of love. It is just a natural progression that you stop wanting to put things in your body that don't serve you. You stop wanting to drink alcohol usually. You stop wanting to eat really unhealthy foods. And it's not, you don't need to go on a diet. You don't need to go and pound yourself in the gym. You don't need to do those things. When you start to love your body, you're listening to what you need. So you are like, okay, I don't need to go and do hardcore exercise. I actually need to just do gentle exercise. And that's what my body likes. And it makes me feel so good when I just go for a gentle walk. And with the same with the food. You eat it and you feel bad after you're eating it. And you just sit there and you just notice. Notice what came up. Notice how that made you feel. And then you can make a choice next time. You're not going to beat yourself up about it. You're not going to sit there in shame and guilt. You're just going to go, oh, that was an interesting choice. Let's just look at how that made me feel. And then you can choose next time, do I want to feel like that? Engaging in activities you enjoy. There's a couple of people on this call who I'm going to Ministry of Sound Orchestra with on the weekend. We're going to be dancing like we're in our 20s to the Ministry of Sound Orchestra. And I am so excited. We're getting glitter and just fun stuff. Now, this is the kind of thing that we need to make time for in our lives. We can get so bogged down in the grudge and the grind. And it is so important to find that playfulness, that fun again. And my women's group that I run on a weekly basis, what I've seen there with the women coming together and connecting and then starting to go out and have fun together, it has been one of the most joyful things I have ever seen in my life. And I know there's some lovely ladies on the call tonight, so thank you for coming. But it gives so much joy. Forgiveness. This is something we hold on to a lot. We do make mistakes. We are human. We do have all sorts of things that have led up to these mistakes sometimes. But we need to let them go. We need to learn, take the learning from them instead of dwelling on them. And we'll talk a bit more about emotional release shortly. And this is where these kind of work can be so, so important to support you for allowing yourself to forgive things that have happened in your life. And this one is really important. Surrounding yourself with positive influences. This is you spend so much time with the people in your the 5 people in your life that are closest to you. Spend so much time with them. And sometimes you do need to just see how positive those influences are. Surrounding yourself with people who uplift and support you will literally take you on the most extraordinary journey of self-love, because everyone's celebrating you. So you're sort of like, initially it's weird. It's like, why are you so happy for me doing things? We're so not used to receiving and being able to hold that beautiful feeling of celebrating ourselves. But if we are with someone, or we have people around us that tear us down, that minimize us, that want us to stay small, that is how we'll stay, because that's how I'd spoken to, that's what we believe. And we start doing this work, we start unraveling those limiting beliefs, and there's other people that are trying to put those back in place. That becomes very, very, very clear. And again, as I said, people either grow with you or you grow away. That's how it works. And it is a practice. It's not a destination, self-love, because we are only human. We have things coming up all the time. We have so much within us that we often need to pull back layers of it. Little demons will pop out. That inner saboteur, that little voice will tell you things that will make you doubt yourself or make you not feel like you're showing up the best person that you are. But that's also an opportunity for you to have self-compassion. And one of the things I highly, highly, highly recommend is surrounding yourself with a group of conscious women. This is one of the most beautiful connections you will ever have in your life, because if you build that tribe of soul sisters, when you are feeling wobbly, you reach out and instantly you are picked up. It is one of the most extraordinary things. I have had it happen so many times. I'm covered in goosebumps right now. I love my soul sisters so much. I have literally got woken up and the worst possible things have happened, and I've been like, I don't even know how to get out of bed this morning. And I reach out and it's just wisdom bomb after compassion bomb after compassion bomb, and then lift up, lift up, lift up. And that can clear me in 10 minutes. So really, really important to have that in your life and to allow yourself to receive that as well. So we're going to move into a little bit of a self-acceptance meditation. Just now I've told you all these lovely things about loving ourselves. Let's see if we can get ourselves into that beautiful space. So we're just getting ourselves into a nice, comfortable position again. You may want to lie down. We won't be too long, so you're probably unlikely to fall asleep, but just getting yourself into a nice, comfortable position and closing down your eyes and taking in a deep breath all the way in, allowing that to float all the way into your lungs and breathing it all the way out. And another deep breath all the way in, and this time just holding it for a moment at the top. And then as you're breathing out, allowing all the tension in your body just to flow out with that breath. And we'll take another breath all the way in, feeling that beautiful prana life force filling up your body. And breathing out anything you don't need. And just as you're sitting and lying in this space, becoming deeply present into your body, and just bringing your attention to your heart space. And just noticing how your heart feels. Notice if there's any sensations. Maybe there's not much happening at all around the heart. And just allowing, no judgment. And as you're sitting here, focusing on that beautiful heart of yours, just imagine a warm, gentle light begins to glow in that heart space. And this light is your inherent worthiness and lovability. And it's so warm and it's so gentle. And as you breathe in, imagine this light growing brighter and warmer. Breathing it out, letting this warmth spread throughout your whole body. And we'll do that again as you're breathing in, allowing that light to grow brighter and warmer in your heart. And as you're breathing it out, it's spreading like a warm blanket all through your body. And now silently, as you lie there or sit there, bathed in this warm, bright light, I would like you to silently repeat after me. I am worthy of love and respect just as I am. I accept all parts of myself, my strengths and my weaknesses. I am on a journey of growth and I embrace each step along the way. I choose to be kind and compassionate to myself. I am enough exactly as I am. And just take a few breaths as you allow these words to sink into your body. Feeling how comforting they are. Or noticing if they make you feel uncomfortable. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and come back into the space. Welcome back, everybody. And so just after that, I would love you to just write how you're feeling in the chat now. And I'll try and encourage you to carry this feeling of self-acceptance with you. It's an ongoing journey to be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress. You are always worthy of love and respect, particularly from yourself, but also from others. Oh, that's lovely. Calm and relax. Stay heart wide open. Oh, that's so beautiful. Now you can do that. How long did that take? 3-4 minutes? You can do that whenever you need to. And all that was just allowing your heart to glow through your body. Now we are going to move on to my favorite bit. Just before we do, because we've been in here almost an hour, if anybody does want to take a sip of water, or I might have one, or have a quick toilet break, you just have a minute or so just to maybe jump up and down and get moving. Because this is something, I don't know if anyone knows much about shake therapy, but whenever I'm feeling a bit anxious or a bit funny, shaking will move everything. And I love it. I try and get my kids to do it and they just think I'm really silly. But it's the best feeling. If you are feeling stuck, just a little bit of movement. So, so good to just break our state. Yes, it does, Chris. I love shaking. Although, excuse the female, I do have to have a good bra on if I'm going to do it. Otherwise, it's a bit uncomfortable.
Hell no, shake them titties.
Oh, honey, was that fair? It broke up. I didn't hear what you said. Can you type it?
I said, can you hear me properly now?
Oh, yes, I can.
I said, oh, hell no, shake them titties.
Well, I'm glad we heard that properly.
I literally just said that in my group on Saturday night. It was like, shake your titties, girls. So we were all doing it.
That's what they're there for. Bryony, thank you for your message. I will do that. I am going to send an email afterwards to everybody with the recording. And I will actually do the journal prompts for the limiting beliefs, and I'll also put those affirmation words in there as well. So we're moving into my favorite bit now. So emotional release is my superpower. I'm so excited because I didn't even know I could do any of this stuff 18 months ago. But yeah, I found my passion, my purpose, my gift, my superpower, and it is emotional release. So I'll just explain a really easy way of understanding how emotions work. So you're in the supermarket, there's a really lovely young mum, and she's got a 2-year-old who is on the floor and is having the most intense screaming tantrum. Their head's going, their legs are going, and mum's so embarrassed, and she's just like, but hopefully she's letting that child go, because this kid is probably been told, no, he can't have that pack of chips. It's as simple as that when you're 2. But that is so frustrating to that child. But once that's moved through that child, up they get. Bop, 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 bop. Can I have this now, mum? They've moved that through. So mum might be a bit traumatized by that for a little bit longer, but that's a really, really clear way of seeing emotions coming through your body, being allowed to be expressed, and literally dissipating, just disappearing. Now, we are taught, unfortunately, from very, very young to suppress our emotions. Not everybody, but most of us had, we were too noisy. We were told to stop crying when we were crying. We were told to pull ourselves together, so you kind of force it down. Okay, fine, I won't cry then. We came from generations where emotions were not really welcomed or valued at all. It was embarrassing. It was shameful to be emotional, particularly men. So this is kind of where we have got a little bit unstuck. So emotional release is a really profound practice that can free you from the burden of suppressed emotions. And what's really important about emotional release is we're actually surrendering. We're not resisting it. We're not fighting our emotions. We're surrendering into them. We're allowing them to be present, and then we're letting them go. And why is this so important? Because when we suppress or resist, they actually create blockages in our energetic body. And I will talk about this a little bit more in a minute, about the actual blockages that it creates in our chakras. But when they're blocked, it manifests in many ways. It can manifest as physical issues in the body. It can manifest as mental issues in the body, spiritual disconnection. All sorts of things can come when we have got a lot of emotions that have been suppressed and stuck in our body. Now, moving it through has incredible benefits. So it will reduce our stress and anxiety. Our physical health will improve. I had so many things wrong with me when I was in my fight or flight anxiety world. I can't remember. I think I remember one person saying to me once in a job I was in, like, I don't know anyone that has as many ailments as you do. I had something wrong with my neck, I had something wrong with my ankle, I had something wrong with this, blah, 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 blah. I don't have anything wrong with me anymore. And what's been really fascinating about the emotional release that I've done is that I spent a lot of time. I did go to a psychologist when I first knew I had some things that I needed to unpack, but I didn't really know what that was. And he really helped me to actually join the dots of some stuff that happened when I was little that then rolled on to why I had such behaviors. But I couldn't access any of that stuff. I could see it, but that didn't really help me because I wasn't able to. I think I did rapid eye desensitization, cognitive behavior therapy. It didn't work. Nothing sort of shifted anything. It wasn't until I went to a fear-based memory that was caught in my body that released in quite an interesting way. Not until I did that things started to shift. And it was, Chris will know on this call, it was like I was on a speed train, like I'm on the bullet train, the Shinkansen in Japan. Once it began, it was like, off I went. And my transformation just went on fast forward. So for me, it was the emotional release on my journey that stepped me into becoming this version of myself. Because emotions are energy in motion. And when we allow it to flow without resistance, it naturally dissipates out of our body. Now, I don't know if anybody has ever seen this book before. This is my Bible, and I love this book so much. This is David Hawkins' Letting Go. Again, I'll put this in the email when I send it out. This is Beck's got one. Anyone who knows me has probably got one, because I talk about this book all the time. This is, and I'm going to move to the next one so you can see. Now, can I just check if you can see that that diagram, because it's not coming up very well on my screen. Can you see it? Yep, brilliant. So this is the scale of consciousness, and this has come from this amazing man. So I highly recommend this book, and you'll understand why as I go through it. Now, the scale of consciousness, you can see that when I started to understand the energetic connection to how I show up in my life, that was the transformational bit. So we actually vibrate at a frequency. So if you can see over here on this, down here, the emotions of shame, guilt, grief, and fear are the lowest vibrations. It may be tricky for you to see. I don't think I can make it any bigger, but I can pop this into the email when I send it to you so that you can get a really good view of this. So these emotions are usually trapped in our 3 lowest chakras. And that is what generally creates a lack of flow of chi energy, of our natural flow energy, which is what usually impacts us with being unable to make changes in our life. So when I realized that I was walking around, vibrating at a frequency that was impacting everyone and everything in my life. And I told you, I was a control freak. I used to get frustrated really easily, angry. So I'm the dominating force in my house. So my kids are feeling this vibration of anger and pride, and probably fear as well was still stuck in me. And I'm pumping that out everywhere I go. So they're also just absorbing that. And when I started to hear them parroting my father back to me, essentially, which is, you know, I didn't want to be like that, and they're saying it back to me, so they're only learning that from me. And it was such a moment for me where I had to stop doing what I was doing and start to heal. So you can't resist what you feel. And what that means is, if you resist it, you push it back down, which means you're still feeling it, which means you can't resist it. So you're still resisting it. So it's not going anywhere. So does it make sense? So if you resist it, it stays in here. But if you acknowledge it and allow it to come through, it dissipates. So if you're feeling a lot of grief and fear and guilt in your body all the time, you are magnetizing that out, because what you hold in is what you put out. And what you put out is what you get back. So if you keep thinking, why do I always have the same relationships? Why do I always have the same patterns? Why do the same people keep coming into my life and behaving in the same way that does not serve me? That is actually because you're magnetizing them in. And that can be really, really confronting when you first kind of realize that. It's actually quite a moment in their life where you're like, I'm doing this? And unconsciously we are, because that's exactly how it works. So even when you want to do manifesting, if you say, I want something, want is actually a word you're left wanting. You don't have it. You don't have it. You're left wanting. So when you're saying, I want things, I want things, I want things, I don't believe I've already got them and I'm already having them. I'm still needing things to come in. So really understanding that polarity, which took me a while to get my head around. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks about how most of us are walking around blocked in our lower chakras, which we'll move on to shortly. So this is a little bit of a graph that shows you, or a diagram that shows you how your chakras can impact your life. So your root chakra is blocked by fear, and your root chakra is connected to your physical health, your instincts, your being grounded, stable. And when you're blocked in that, I'm just going to read a couple of blocked attributes out. There's heaps of them, but I'm just going to read a few, just so that you can see how being blocked in these chakras can really impact you. So it could be jealousy, fear about security and safety, focus on material possessions and wealth, the need to satisfy all of your desires, eating disorders. When we move into the sacral, it's blocked by guilt. And guilt potentially is not you've done something bad. Guilt is quite often with women that we feel guilty for existing, for showing up, for taking up space. And that is because our mothers also felt like that. I feel really bad that your father has to do this, or I'm sorry all the time. So we're carrying this sense of guilt for just existing. That's connected to your emotional well-being. And it's your sensuality, your creativity, your pleasure. And if you have the blocked characteristics, is addictions, unwilling to socialize, reproductive problems, repressed emotions, etc., etc. Your solar plexus is blocked by shame, which many of us have felt in our lives, particularly as women. That is your strength of will, your often your abundance, your inner child is here. And it can be lack of confidence, anger, afraid to be alone, passive, can't make decisions. And then moving into the heart chakra, which is blocked by grief. I won't go through any more of those attributes. I just wanted to show you that this is how you can be impacted when you do have these kind of emotional blockages. So you've got your heart chakra is blocked by grief. Your throat chakra is blocked by lies. That's lies that we tell ourselves. That's lies that others tell, and lies we tell. Whether we're telling lies about what we think or whether we're genuinely lying about stuff so that we don't get found out. The third eye chakra is blocked by the illusion of separation. Now, we in the quantum believe we are all one, and when we go up into the quantum and we work up in here, we're all connected. So if we're forgetting that and thinking that we are individuals on our own and we are completely like alone in this world, that can cause some really big blockages in our life. The crown chakra is blocked by earthy addictions. So this is when we want the big house, we want the big car. Maybe it's as simple as drugs and alcohol, but it can also be like your pets. You could be totally addicted to these animals. It's having things that are just become these external things that become your identity. And then your soul star chakra, which sits up here, that's blocked by the illusion of space and time, which is, we all think we live in this linear world where time is, written by man. But, I had an experience, and I have these all the time now. I used to be the most organized person in the world and the most stressed when we went on holiday or did anything. We went to Stradbroke Island a couple of days ago, and I made a conscious choice not to look at ferry times, because if I do, I will spend the hours that I had to get ready, the hours that we had in the car, the hours that we needed to find a park, I would just be stressing. I'd just be like, we're going to miss the ferry. So I just went, I'm not even going to look at the ferry time, because that will allow us all to get there in a nice, calm fashion and put mum's neuroses away. We arrived there, found a park. We walked over to the ferry timetable. It said 2 o'clock and it was 1:40. The next one left at 3:30. So if we'd missed that one, we'd have had to have sat around for an hour and a half. Now, there was no illusion of time for me. I just allowed the flow to happen, and the flow happened so perfectly that we just literally walked there on the boat, left. Maybe it was a coincidence. I'll leave that one up to you. But it is something that we don't need to control all the time. So I'm going to just do a little simple emotional release technique, just to show you we do not have time to do anything. And I'm certainly not going to ask any of you to bring up any emotions right now, because it's certainly not the base. When I do this with people, it is such a safe space. We take as long as it needs. It's a really, really almost like a sacred thing that we do. So we're just going to do a little bit of a tester just to see if you can feel into something. So what we'll do is we'll identify an emotion. So choose an emotion that you're currently feeling or you've been struggling with recently, maybe anxiety or anger, or it could be sadness. And then we're just going to allow and accept it. So we'll just bring your attention to the emotion and just feel into where you're feeling it, and allowing it to be there. And then we're just going to say thank you and let it go. So if you just close your eyes down, and just take a nice deep breath in. And just allow yourself to just feel into your body now. And when I mentioned bringing up an emotion, something would have popped in. And so we'll just focus on whatever popped in. We're always trying to get the conscious mind to just allow the subconscious to come through, because the subconscious knows what you need to release. So just paying attention to that emotion and just allowing it to bubble up into your body now. Just allowing yourself to really feel into it. Don't try and change it or resist it. Just allow it to be there. You might even want to say to yourself, I allow you to be here. I allow this feeling to be here right now. And now feeling into your body. Is there a space in your body that's a bit tight or a bit tingly or achy? And just feeling where that emotion seems to be. And when you felt into that space and you can feel where it might be, what does it look like? Is there a color or a texture? Maybe it's solid or soft, or maybe it's even liquid. And now that you can visualize, you can feel it and visualize it, just want you to visualize how it wants to be released. And it may just want to drift away. It may want to dissolve. Maybe you need to throw it. You're just feeling into how that wants to be released. And maybe you say, I welcome this feeling. And I'm ready to let this feeling go. And then just let it leave. Let it leave the way it wants to. Maybe it's floating away like a bunch of balloons. And you're just allowing. You're willing to release. Letting it leave your body. And as it's leaving and drifting away, Maybe you notice the intensity of the emotion changing. Maybe it's increased but beginning to dissipate now. Keep breathing and allowing. And now you have space in your body where you no longer have this emotion. And maybe you're happy with that. And maybe you'd like to fill this space up. And maybe now you can start to bring into your vision those feelings of absolute delight, of love, of putting your feet in the sand, of that sunrise kissing your face, of that child laughing, of that connection with your friends. And just allowing those emotions now to fill that space. And welcoming them in. And these emotions can stay. And just when you're ready, just taking in a few deep breaths. And just allowing yourself to come back to the space. Taking your time. And maybe you might want to pop into the chat what your emotion was and what it moved to. Was it fear and it moved to love? Was it anger and it moved to joy? And so that was a very light on emotional release that we did. I often find when I do them, I use music because music really allows those emotions to come through. Guilt to calmness. I love that. Beautiful. Oh, I know, Zoe. They keep growing up so fast, don't they? So this is where I've ended up. Resentment, anger, move to gratitude to the universe for directing. Oh, beautiful. I love that. It's so powerful. And so this is how I've got to what I do with people. This is my unique blend. These are all the things that I've studied, spent hours researching and reading. And bright red paint like embarrassment, scraped off and thrown and replaced with pink love and kindness. That's a good one. And write these down. These are really beautiful moments for you because you did I know we did it really quickly, but you did release an emotion that was in your body. Whether it was just something that annoyed you yesterday, it could have come up from that could have been a 5-year-old emotion that just moved through your body. So this is me. This is how my work and my program and my coaching comes together. I also wanted to share with you, and I've never shared this with anyone before outside of my close group of friends, but I just feel like it's a really important thing to help you understand how supportive my energy is. But I have been guided to, how can I say this? I am channeling Mary Magdalene energy, which was something that really just came through recently, and it kind of made sense to me, because one of my limiting beliefs for a while was, I was like, why do people want to hang out with me? Why are people drawn to me? I'm like just so normal and nothing special. Now, obviously, I am special. That's not true. That's a limiting belief. But having that nurturing mother, caring energy that I am quite supported with has meant that people are so safe when they're with me. And part of my journey was, I did the quantum emotional release training. I didn't find it safe. I found it was masculine and fast, and you've got pushed through the course, and it didn't resonate with me. So then I went and added in all these other different things, because I just felt like I needed to keep people safe. We are going to places when you are releasing emotions. You're going to places where people really don't want to go to sometimes. We don't go to memories, particularly. We go to emotions and where they're coming up. So moving on to a lovely offer I just wanted to let you know about. So I have put together a little 21-day program. This is packed with value. My one-on-ones are $222, so it's not even as much as 1 hour with me one-on-one. So this is $197, which is not a lot of money. It works out about $10 a day if you do the 21-day authentic living challenge with me. We'll do 3 group sessions, which will be, I believe, on a Tuesday evening. They'll be recordable, so we wouldn't be doing breakout rooms and discussions or anything like that. So if you can't make those 3 sessions, they'll always be able to watch them afterwards, and you get to keep them and watch them as many times as you like. We'll be really going into your limiting beliefs and really supporting you to go into that a lot deeper and really pull out what we did today. More emotional release and self-love. And my favorite thing in the whole wide world, which I haven't even touched on, is my Ho'oponopono training, which is this incredible self-healing tool that I can teach you to do. And the inner child healing is just so transformative. And I'll bet you'd get a recording of that as well, which you can just keep running. And every single day I will be sending through journaling prompts or little exercises for you to do. I've got some meditations that I'll be sending out as recordings as well. And then this is very exciting. You get an individual 30-minute with me for that as well, so that we can really unpack what might be specifically going on for you. So I'm very excited about this. It starts on the 12th of May. So it's in a couple of weeks' time. It's 3 weeks. It's all in. Let's do this. And what I'm going to do is, where's my, there it is. I'm going to drop into the chat a link to my, oops, that link, sorry, it's on this page. Let me drop into that. Elise, could you drop into the chat the link to the page, please?
Surely.
Thank you. So yes, so this is there's a link to a page, a landing page, which gives you a little bit more information about what it involves. You can, there's a couple of buttons on there that you can go purchase straight away. Anyone who purchases within the next 2 hours, I am going to give a little bonus to them. So I've got a manifesting self-love workbook that I will add in if you jump on in the next 2 hours. But this offer will be up for 7 days. So if you do want to do it, you have got a little bit of time to think about it. What I learned was, what's the cost of doing it and what's the cost of not doing it. Whenever I've put that little philosophy into place, the cost of not doing it has always definitely not been worth going there. I've always gone, I'm doing it. Even the things that didn't resonate with me still taught me. They taught me what doesn't work for me. They taught me how maybe I don't want to do things in life. So I would suggest, because obviously it's my program and I'm very biased, to jump on and do it because it's amazing value. And if you do want to talk to me further about any one-on-one coaching, because obviously that's something I offer as well, I will, with the email that I send out, if you are interested in having a chat with me, just a free discovery call about what's going on for you, we can also do that as well. Thank you, Avril. I'll just go back to that picture. So this is at the most beautiful little place outside of Nimbin called Coffee Cottage. And it's a place that me and my husband sneak off to whenever we can because it's so divine. And he took that picture of me and I just loved it. And I thought, a year ago, there's no way I would have put a picture like that of me on a PowerPoint that is potentially going to go viral around the world. I would have been like, well, that's number one, it's embarrassing. Number two, it's really boasting, right? I look good in that picture. Things that people are just going to think, oh my God, look at her showing off. That's a limiting belief. Because actually, I'm really proud of how beautiful I look in that photo. And I would never have said that. I would never have stood in front of, I don't know how many women we have right now and like said, I'm beautiful. Why not? Hey, we're all beautiful. And I'm proud of the photo. So I kept it in here. And somebody commented. There we go. Win-win. And questions, sorry. Do you have any questions that have popped up? There have been some about me adding in more information, which I will go back through that chat and make sure that I do that and send an email with anything or the resources on here. But does anyone have any questions? Oh, Lise, thank you. So some questions that do come up with the emotional releases is people are a bit worried about going to memories and traumas that have happened for them. So just I mean, this is more with one-on-one stuff, but I'm really, really careful about how you're feeling, how you're safe within the session. And it's kind of timeline therapy that we use. So we're up out of the body, we're observing, we're not in the moment. And you're in complete control at all times. That if you don't feel comfortable, you can pull out. So that's just something that I've learned along the way. That I really, really, really want to make sure that you feel safe and that we put those beautiful emotions back in so that when you leave, you're feeling really uplifted. So that's why I wanted to just give you a little bit of a demonstration there. Thank you, lovely ladies. Oh, it's been so nice. I've really enjoyed this. And can you just look at the time? I didn't time this. So that was 1 hour and a half. That was 90 minutes to the dot that I let you in. I just wanted to show you that because this is what's happening for me now. I'm not trying to control things anymore. I'm going with the flow. And you can all do the same thing. All those little things that you're like, but this makes it really difficult in my life and this is really hard. I had all of those going on for me every time. And I'd say, yes, but it's too hard. Yes, but. Nah, we can change it. So thank you again for your time and your attention. I really appreciate it. I will send you out a copy of the recording. I will send you out the resources. And then if you have any questions and you want to reach out to me, would love to see you on the Empower You program. It's going to be so much that you'll get out of that. So sending you lots of love and have a beautiful evening.